Hello, crafty beaders! What you see is what you get, so keep watching if you want to learn how to make this pretty bracelet. Welcome to my channel. Here you can learn easy beading techniques and tips to take your craft to designer level. I am Mia, your guide, helping you to upgrade your beading skills. You're welcome. We need 2 needles and some thread. I'm using Nymo thread today. After that we need some beads, some 4mm bicones we are going to use for this, and some 11O seed beads in contrast colors. We also need 2 seed beads that are bigger than 11O, can be an 8O, a 9O. Then we need some closed rings, a closed ring or a split ring, that we will use them for clasps, 2 of each. Some jump rings. We might need 2 or 3 depending if you want the bracelet adjustable. Then we need clasps, a lobster clasp, a magnetic clasp, or a toggle clasp. Then if you want to create an adjustable bracelet, you will need a chain to use as an extension. And at the end of the chain you can bring in the charms, which are an absolute joy. Just have a look at how pretty they can be. A wee ghost, I love you. A smiley, and the moon, absolutely pretty. You have all these materials, you are ready to start working on the bracelet. For our right angle weave technique, we need a thread that is having needles at both ends, and we start with a clasp. We are going to use one of our split rings, 4 seed beads, and one of the big seed beads. So we pick up 4 seed beads on one of the needles. Then we pick up the split ring as well. We move them to the middle of the thread. And now we cross the threads through the big seed bead by going through the seed bead with both needles from opposite directions. Is our clasp or starter clasp, and we need to reinforce it a few times. Now for our right angle weave pattern, we have 2 bicones on each side, separated by one seed bead and one seed bead for crossing the threads. But for our pattern, we replace one bicone with 3 seed beads. This would be the first unit of our pattern. For the second unit, we do the same with replacing the bicone in the opposite direction. So if we have firstly replaced it on the right, for the second unit we replace it on the left. We proceed to loading the needles with the seeds as they are. So on the right we load with 3 seed beads plus 1 and 1 bicone. On the left needle we pick up bicone, seed bead, bicone. And now we are crossing the threads through the top seed bead, as in any right angle weave method. This is the first unit. And now we continue with the second part, where we load on the right needle bicone, seed bead, bicone, and we drop the beads to the center. On the left needle we pick up 3 seed beads that replace the bicone. The seed bead that is the connector between the bicones and the bicone. We drop the beads towards the center of the thread. And now we cross the threads through the top seed bead. And these are the 2 units that we keep repeating for the required length of our bracelet. Don't forget that for the length of the bracelet you have to take off 1 inch from the final length. So if you need 6 inches, you will bead 5 inches. Here we are at the end our bracelet. I have measured, and it seems that I still need to make 1 more unit. I prepare the next sequence according to the pattern, and for the last seed bead where I'm crossing the threads, I bring in the big seed bead that we have used at the opposite end in a similar way, because that would be the seed bead for the clasp. So we load the right needle with bicone, seed bead, bicone per the pattern, and the left one with 3 seed beads, another seed bead, and the bicone. And now we cross the last unit through the big seed bead. Now we are ready to finish our bracelet for the clasp, but before that we have to reinforce with both threads the last unit, because the bracelets made with this technique tend to their shape very easily, so make sure that you do this reinforcement. Now go around with the second needle as well. And bring the thread up at the last seed bead. And now we are ready to add our closed ring. For this we pick up with just one of the needles 4 seed beads. We pick up the split ring as well and create a circle by going back through the big seed bead at the end of our bracelet. And now we reinforce this circle with both threads to make sure that the clasp will last when worn. The thread that is left, we are going to weave in along the bracelet, giving it more strength as well. Now we make a small knot, but it will be against the thread. Make sure you do not touch the edge of the bicone with the thread, because the bicones tend to cut the thread quite easily. So every time when you do this type of knot around the, avoid touching the edge of the bicones. After we cut the thread, we continue the same with the second thread, meaning that we reinforce around clasp circle, then we weave in the end of the thread, and we can make 1 or 2 knots around the thread that is inside the bracelet, but avoid making these threads against the end of the bicones. Some happy people here. Yes, we finished the bracelet. Now we can add the clasp. And for this you bring in your pliers and we open a jump ring. Then we connect it to the ring of the bracelet and then with our clasp. For the other side, we are going to add only one jump ring. And here we have our finished bracelet. This is a bracelet that will be snug, very close to the wrist. If you want to make it larger, you can use an extension chain and you just add it at the other end of the lobster clasp. Open the jump ring and go with the chain through. And here you have the bracelet. Looking like this. Of course, if you have an adjustable bracelet, you will use the opportunity to put some charms on, and to put a charm on you need one jump ring. You open it, you put the charm through, one or maybe two if you prefer, and then through the chain as well. You close the jump ring and here you have your pretty and funny bracelet. If you like this bracelet, I have another tutorial for you where you can learn how to make it with 2 colors of Bicones instead of 1. If you want to watch it, please subscribe to my email list. The link is in the description below, and I'll send you your private link for the tutorial here on YouTube. This way, you can be part of my Beaders Club where I publish one exclusive pattern every month. See you on the other side.